The ballerina's redemption. The crystal tray shattered across the marble ballroom floor, silencing 200 guests at Manhattan's most exclusive party. Kesha Williams, a 35-year-old contract cleaner, knelt among the shards as millionaire William Thompson III sneered loudly, "If you can dance a waltz better than my wife, I'll marry my son to you." Cruel laughter rippled through the crowd. William was drunk on power and whiskey, pointing his champagne glass at the black woman trembling before Manhattan's elite. His son Jonathan, 28, whispered desperately, "Dad, you're being ridiculous," but William ignored him completely. "This person can't even clean properly," William announced, walking to the center of the room. "Let's test if she can move to a beat. Play a waltz. If she dances better than my wife Victoria, I'll marry her to my son on the spot." Imagine the Thompson heir marrying the cleaning lady. The crowd roared with laughter. But Kesha stood, wiped her hands, and looked directly at William. "I accept," she said in a voice that cut through the air like a blade. The hall fell silent. William blinked, shocked. "What did you say?" "I accept your challenge. But when I win, you keep your word. And I want a public apology for judging me based on my skin color and occupation." What William didn't know was that Kesha had once been Kesha Merrow, principal dancer with the American National Ballet. 15 years ago, she had mesmerized audiences on the world's most prestigious stages. Then came the tragedy, a car accident, 3 months in a coma, and doctors saying she'd never walk normally again. Professional dance. Impossible. She had lost everything and rebuilt her life in obscurity, working anonymous jobs to survive. Victoria Thompson, 50, winner of last year's Club WALTZ trophy, approached with a venomous smile. "Do you really think I need to compete with this?" she sneered. William raised the stakes cruelly. "When you lose, get on your knees and apologize for wasting everyone's time. Then you're fired." Marcus, the 60-year-old head of security, approached Kesha discreetly. "I saw you dance 15 years ago at the National Theater," he whispered. "I thought you died in the accident. What they did to you was an injustice. What they're doing now is worse." Kesha asked him to record everything that followed. William made the spectacle more brutal. $1,000 if she finishes the song without falling. When she fails, she cleans this entire room on her knees. Victoria danced first, competent but amateurish ballroom moves. The crowd applauded politely. Then Kesha took the floor. She had chosen the same waltz she'd performed hundreds of times during her career, the last piece before her accident, when she'd received a 5-minute standing ovation at the National Theater. The music began. Kesha's first movements were subtle, allowing expectations to stay low. But as the music gained momentum, something extraordinary happened. Each step became fluid, each turn precise, each movement charged with deep emotion. She performed pirouettes that challenged any professional, followed by a grand jeté that defied physics. This wasn't ballroom dancing. This was classical ballet of the highest order. William stopped laughing. Victoria's smile vanished. The room realized they weren't watching a cleaning lady, they were witnessing an artist reclaiming her world. "My God," someone murmured. "She's exceptional." Marcus recorded not just the performance but William's face transforming from scorn to confusion to terror. "This is impossible," William whispered. "Who is this woman?" When Kesha performed her trademark sequence, unique movements she'd created herself, recognition struck like lightning. A patron of the arts gasped, "I know those moves." But where? The music reached its climax. Kesha executed a series of fouettes, continuous turns on one leg that left everyone speechless. She finished with arms outstretched, head high, breathing controlled. Silence. Then one person applauded. Then another. Within seconds, the entire hall erupted in a standing ovation. "Bravo! Extraordinary!" Marcus approached, still recording. "Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Kesha Merrow, former principal soloist with the American National Ballet." The name exploded through the hall. Kesha Merrow was a legend who had mysteriously disappeared after a tragic accident. "Impossible," Victoria stammered. "Kesha Merrow is dead." "Clearly." Kesha smiled. "Rumors of my death were greatly exaggerated." Marcus played the recording of William's bet with clear terms in front of 200 witnesses. "You said if she danced better than your wife, you'd marry her to your son. The condition has been met." Jonathan approached Kesha. "Miss Merrow, I'd like to publicly apologize for my father's behavior. If you'll allow me, I'd be honored to honor his word, not because I'm forced to, but because any man would be honored. Jonathan, shut up, William exploded. Do this and you're out of the company, the family, everything. Then so be it, Jonathan replied. Some things are more important than money, Dad. Like integrity. Kesha looked at William, who was shaking with rage. 15 years ago, people like you decided I had no value after I became imperfect. Today, you tried to humiliate me based on my skin color and occupation. True nobility comes from how we treat others when we think no one is watching. She turned to Jonathan. Your son learned that lesson despite your efforts. I'll accept dinner, but marriage is decided by two people based on love and respect, not humiliating bets. The audience erupted in applause, not just for the dance, but for her dignity and wisdom. William muttered about lawyers and fled, followed by mortified Victoria. Within 24 hours, the video went viral worldwide. William's company lost $3 million in contracts overnight. The board voted him out. Victoria filed for divorce and moved to Europe. William lost everything. His company, reputation, family, ending up as a low-level consultant, a shadow of his former arrogant self. Meanwhile, offers flooded in for Kesha. Ballet companies, Lincoln Center, Hollywood producers. But she accepted an offer from community school children who pooled $23 to bring her back to teaching. 6 months later, the Kesha Marrow Center for the Arts opened in Manhattan, funded by worldwide donations. Jonathan, now running a reformed family business focused on social responsibility, was the first major donor. At the center's opening, Marcus watched Kesha teaching diverse, smiling children. It wasn't just victory over prejudice. It was a lesson in how true nobility responds to cruelty. Jonathan approached with flowers. Ready for dinner. Ready, Kesha smiled, accepting not just his arm but the new life she'd built from the ashes. Her true revenge wasn't destroying William Thompson. It was building something so beautiful his cruelty seemed insignificant in comparison. She proved that when we face prejudice with dignity and respond to hatred with excellence, we don't just win, we transform the world. Her true revenge wasn't destroying William Thompson, because destruction would have kept her bound to his cruelty. Instead, she chose a far more powerful response: creation. She built something so meaningful, so radiant with purpose, that his prejudice shrank into irrelevance. Where he tried to limit her worth, she expanded it. Where he expected bitterness, she delivered brilliance. She proved that dignity is not passive, it is an active, disciplined choice. Each step she took toward excellence was a quiet rebellion against hatred. Rather than shouting back at injustice, she let her work speak in a language no bias could silence. Success became her testimony, integrity her shield, and grace her strength. In doing so, she showed the world a deeper truth. When we meet prejudice with dignity and answer cruelty with excellence, we don't merely rise above those who tried to break us, we change the rules entirely. We shift the narrative from pain to possibility, from oppression to empowerment. That kind of victory doesn't leave ruins behind, it leaves pathways. And through those pathways, others learn that transformation, not revenge, is the most enduring triumph of all. Her true revenge wasn't destroying William Thompson, because tearing him down would have meant letting his hatred dictate the shape of her future. That would have given his cruelty more power than it deserved. Instead, she chose a response that required courage, patience, and vision. She built a life so grounded in purpose and excellence that his prejudice became a footnote rather than a defining chapter. She understood that hatred feeds on reaction, but dignity starves it. Every time she refused to be reduced by his assumptions, she reclaimed a piece of herself. She poured her energy into growth, into mastery, into becoming so skilled and self-assured that no insult could touch her core. Her success was not loud or boastful, it was undeniable. It stood as living proof that worth is not granted by others, it is claimed through perseverance and self-belief. What made her triumph extraordinary was not just that she succeeded, but how she succeeded. She carried herself with grace in spaces that never expected her to belong. She met closed doors not with resentment, but with resolve, turning barriers into lessons and setbacks into stepping stones. In choosing excellence over bitterness, she protected her spirit while expanding her influence. And in the end, the transformation reached far beyond her own life. Her journey quietly challenged the systems and mindsets that once tried to confine her. Others saw what was possible because she refused to shrink. By facing prejudice with dignity and responding to hatred with excellence, she didn't simply win a personal battle, she reshaped the landscape itself. She showed that the most powerful revenge is not destruction, but transcendence, and that true victory is measured not by who we defeat, but by the world we help create.